Mission complete. Now you can smash the Archeum to bits as you wish.
Zodl says LF1D Abyss. Medem says LFDPS 40 plus LVL. Dregstar says how to turn up AI. H88 says LF1 tank Abyss DM.
To make weapons for adventure.
Regional de Cassil family.
That was close. I can't believe the
Gander says was Gux do. Says Laslan Delicacy 1, Rausko F says Rencontre Amical dans les Champs. Arkan says Guilde Française Chasseurs de Têtes recruit. Gambler's Luck says Divine Exiles now recruiting. TLS Mad says Klimus. Simpligadin says Gilde Sauerhaufen sucht aktiv durch Sprachage mit Strider. Einfach über das Gildensystem bewerben. Says Milestone Desert Weapon of Destruction has started. Korpschnapi says Anhang, a Benthuerder Expedition can mir wer sagen wo das ist.
Hello there, girlie. Mina. Where's Martine?
Ezekiel says need DPS heal tank. Agent says Havalakat Erdikal Magyar Guild Acker Joan Vegi Gelentsen. Smiley face. Maxed 4 PT says Dispo.
Weapon glowstone. Battle pass.
Fezik says INV. Mayagata says I'm DPS. Gambling says, Smoot says INV.
Inventory. Codex. A tragedy.
Vladzer says bug looking for bugs. Arkan says Guilde Française Chasseurs de Têtes recruit. PM me bon ambiance tout CAXD.
Adventurer, because of you, I was able to hear about my sister before. Now that her hiding place has been exposed, Zeroth's men will find this clinic sooner or later. So I also
Ezekiel
decided
says
to
need
leave before
DPS
it's
heal
too
tank
late.
Abyss
My
2
common
6.
potion won't be enough to fully. When we meet again, I'll be able to cure you completely.
Thank
Until
you,
then,
Martine.
please take care of yourself and be safe out there.
Snow Oman says SVQV.
Take
Mayagata says invite. Says received a new title, Holder of Secrets. Axila says invite. In the past, when Archeum had taken Martina hostage, Adriana had unleashed a cursed soon says INV.
Anyone help me?
Great Khan says invite tank 23.
Is there someone out there? Can anyone help me?
Onshirk says Abyss INV Helayer here. Says quality active skill growth book X1 has been consumed in inventory. Rob Bubble says LFG Morokai. Axila says invite. Says quality active skill growth book X1 has been consumed in inventory. Hayes Sasaki says DPS LFG Abyss. Kikas 2497 says invite PLS. Says quality active skill growth book X1 has been consumed in says quality active skill growth book X1 has been consumed. Says quality active skill growth book X1 has been consumed in inventory. Geoki says LFG. Says quality active skill growth book X1 has been consumed in inventory. Says Axila says Morokai invite. Chinzo says LFDL Express VI says the notification enabled peace excavator not. Yahowik says LFG speak Spanish, English and French. ICEL Antman says INV. Says quality active skill growth book X1 has been consumed in Hank Flex says quality active skill growth book X1 has been consumed in inventory. Jom Hummus says Jom Hummus party. Arkan says ICEL Antman says PINV. Says quality passive skill growth book X1 has been consumed in inventory. Says quality passive skill growth book X1 has been consumed in inventory.
Done.
Lord Rammel says Sprich Deutsch du HS.
The tragedy chapter 2.
Airwald says invite please. Great Khan says need one more DPS for Abyss. Siaki VT says Lord Rafdike. Paul Atrides says I am the Duke of Iraqis. Ezekiel says need DPS for Abyss 5/6.
Making purchases.
Hank Flex says need 2 DPS 1 tank Abyss join point.
Max health.
Hank Flex says hashtag. Domero says Bonsoir. Sorty Myth says Gilda Jesus Space Army such Dutch Sprakage Spieler. Preferiert behandlung gibt es nicht. Coffee kostet. Aber wir haben nen Discord. Also kann ihnen aufsitzen. Says stat distribution complete. Mask 22 says OMG we can HAI bot AUS Macken?
The tragedy
This ugly
of the...
statue going to remain here. This guy's been
Woundolf
dead for
says
ages.
Mask 22 says ich rast gleich AUS. Bald Beauty says hello. Says you acquired the Chapter 1, The Tragedy of the Kissil Family final reward. Mask 20, Shra says oh you trouve or do sell SVP. Mask 22 says Deathstorm says hi. Woundulf says XD. Says you have acquired recipe for rancid powder completion reward, S. Muurg 67VN says LF2XDPS / Yuka Hero says Alan, SI Lees Esto, Marakita. Yenbane says XD.
Take a gander before you head off on your adventure. I'm sure you'll find something you need.
Aquamarink says Mask, Führer says 1 tank 1100, Laurie Liberty says was waren das noch für Zeiten als nur game Solk Spiele spielten.
Many have died because of this Stiefel man.
67VN says LF2XDPS, Aquamarink says Mask text Zio Sprach. VN says LF1XDPS / says quality weapon growth stone X1 has been consumed. Führer says 1 tank 1149 and 1. Simpligadin says Gilda Sauerhaufen sucht act, says quality weapon growth stone X2 has been consumed in inventory. Says quality, Great Con says, Tobias 94 says Gespenster of Grund. Onshirk says come inside guys. Tobias, Noah 5 says anyone know a good, GN says L, Gambling says AO. Tobias 94 says Gespenster of Grund.
There's nothing we don't have.
Kikas 2497 says LFG Morokai. Hayes Sasaki says DPS LFG Abyss. Führers, Ezekiel says need DPS Abyss 5/6. GN says LFG Morokai. Tobias 94 says Gespenster of Grund. VN says LF1X DPS. Woundulf says JMD so plan los wie ich und will ZSM zicken? Jet das überhaupt haha? Shra says YA de 67VN says LF1X DPS, Spectrace Abyss. Tobias not Simpligadin, Zorglux says Salad Tout El Emond. Tobias 94 says Gespenster of Grund.
When you're not sure what you need, start with some world tree leaves.
Sortie Myth, Geraldo Ravioli says nice name Slicer and LT, 3. Führer says LF1X heal 1X DPS for boss Spectre's Abyss. Great Con says ready about that. Shizu Ezawa says hi.
When you're not sure,
Yachii says press W for gift. Sirith says yo. No 3 says Alt plus F4 for secret command.
Back anytime.
In the dark of the night, in the midst of a storm.
The
There isn't that much
younger-
time left. Oh, what should I... There's something that I desperately need, but no could... Ever heard of this monster known
X
as
the Joker
Ischia
says
the
as.
Greyhound? He was this dreadful wolf that the only reason I'm alive to speak to you about this today is that
Physics says how
whenever
to
I
get
the
out of
chance,
there.
I tried to visit Henry's grave in Castleton Abbey to leave some offerings. Last time, the anniversary of Henry's death is coming soon, so I'd like to prepare a special gift for his grave. I wish I could get one of those keepsakes and bring it to Henry's grave. Mind? You'll really get one of those keepsakes for me? If that's the case, then No, never mind. Actually, it would be nice if I could have 2 of these keepsakes. Do you think it'd be possible?
Shinzo says Mana.
Thank you so much, adventurer!
Brother, this way! Come over here for a second! Have you tried using the storage? It's very convenient. That's great! You look more composed. I thought as much. If you... Brother, let me tell you something I learned from one of my other customers. When you perform a transfer, the older equipment...
Unshirk says Unshirk's party abyss joy.
...to the new equipment. It's much more efficient than upgrading new gear from... Got that, brother?
Says you have acquired Appendix Play Button Equipment Upgrade Completion Reward, S.
And taught you how to effectively upgrade your equipment. You can now own even stronger equipment by upgrading it.
Unshirk says come inside. Says acquired leveling log rewards. XF Senior Smurf says can't find any party for LV20. Sortie Myth says Gilda Jesus Space Army such Dutch Sprakage Spieler. Preferiert behandlung gibt es nicht. Coffee kostet. Aber wir haben nen Discord. Also kann ihnen aufsitzen. Einfach übers Gildenfenster suchen und beitreten. Ist offen. Mortes says join the guild ramen noodles. Island Brushes says DPS LFG Abyss. Shuerthuggle says DPS 1200 Abyss 20. XS1 MPLY says LFG Abyss DD. Galio says invite. XS1 MPLY says LFG Abyss DD. Unshirk says waiver. Says Laslan Delicacy 5 page collected.
Well,
so many things to do. Making arrangements for the
XS1MPLY
contest,
says
checking
L.
up on- I know
Paper
that you've
says
come a
2
long way,
DPS
but I must
LFG
do
Abyss
all the
20.
rules to proceed with the
Shuerthugel says
contest. Your
DPS Abyss
corpse
20.
cherishes this. Wait. If a wolf hunter keepsake, please defeat the Crackle in the Rexon. Also, investigate, and please remember, Crackle are difficult prey to hunt, so you should equip at
Billy
least
Mike
uncommon
Simply
level
says
armor.
Gilda Sullerhaufen says you have acquired the Lord's Aids Crisis Completion Reward.
For the wolf hunting
S.
contest wasn't effective enough. He decided to solve this problem by developing a
KPE
new
says
kind.
was amshed man
To
out
get
dem
a
wall.
keepsake for Soyuri, you must first gather the ingredients for this new bait from Windhill Shores.
Says Henry's letter 2-page collected. Says Henry's letter 1-page collected. Irene says give parters halt. Says Henry's letter 4-page collected. Says Hobbs's memo 1-page collected. Stragla says DDLFG Abyss. Paper says 2 DPS LFG Abyss 20. Colossus says Tank LFG Abyss. Führer says Tank 1149 LFG Abyss. Says you have entered a peace zone. Vandaluga says DDLFG Abyss. Zeref Dragneel says Zeref Dragneel's party boss Fiat help.
Alright, pasture.
Soon says 2 DPS LFG ABYSINV. Izumoto says DPS LFG Abyss.
Honestly, now's not the
Weenola
time to be worried
57
about
says
goblins.
salad. Says Heroes of Castleton 4-page collected. X Zori says DPS / healer 1230 for Abyss INV. Ayatai Ike says ready for a new challenge. Shin Noodles is now open for recruitment. PvP focused active English guild. Looking for players to fill the roster. Interested? Zeref Dragneel says Zeref Dragneel's party boss fight Abyss.
Abyss boss fight.
Says Journal of a Laslan Farmer 2-page collected.
Oh, what do I do? I was
Stop.
planning to conduct an experiment today. Thank you. In the meantime, I'll set up the experiment.
Says you have acquired Cursed Rain. Zeref Dragneel says Zeref Dragneel's party boss fight Abyss. Arkan says Gilda fr Kassers de Tets recruit. Soon says group looking for DPS and tank. Mool says boss fight Abyss 2 last 1 heal 1 DPS. Senior Smoke says match, says Journal of a Laslan Farmer 5 page collected. Phoenix 4 Live says 2 looked such an active Deutsche Gilde.
Good, thank you. And you?
Soon says group looking for DPS and tank. Gambling says nah, just these guys are. Sakura Saru says XD. DJ Schuerthugel says Sakura Saru says Sind Avers. Felicitas says end quote. Drachenaked end quote. Falls Gemmend ne Deutsche Gilde sucht. Smiley face. Sodden says there is automatic matchmaking. Sodden says it's called matchmaking, laughing face.
How was your day?
Says Laslan Monster Lore. Sakura Saru says Ogre Gilde GER. Pagula says DPS 1000, Stukov says DPS for Abyss 20. Stay Frosty Ghost says DPS LFG Abyss. Says you have acquired Cursed Rain completion reward, S. Luralai says Uritard // PvE and PvP oriented guild that's in it to have fun and not. Snow Oman says Gilda end quote. Unifies 10 end quote. On Gilda Fran says try hard active plein de fun vene nombre expor conque. Mayan Re says DPS 1080 LFG Abbeys. Pa Clementine says DPS LFG Abyss third time.
The cursed lab.
Says you have acquired Cursed Rain completion reward, S.
You're just in time. I want to see how rainwater. I'm going to mix these ingredients. I want you to sprinkle that rainwater on the scalp. I'm mixing the ingredients in the rainwater.
Simply Gideon says Stay Frosty Ghost says DPS LFG Abyss CP 918.
I created the experimental rainwater. Be careful. Scarabs can become hostile suddenly when they are soaking wet from rain.
Durgith says 1090 GS DPS. Safi Burn says Log. Burn says Busco Guild de España.